All right, today we're going to crack open the playbook for what it really takes to be an exceptional leader. And look, we're skipping all the usual buzzwords. We're going to get right into a solid concrete framework that the best managers use to build and lead teams that just, well, they crush it. So if you're a manager, this one probably hits pretty close to home, right? You bring in these brilliant people, but man, keeping that spark alive, keeping them engaged and challenged, it can feel like a total uphill battle. It's honestly one of the toughest parts of the job, and it's what separates the good managers from the great ones. So what's the answer? Well, it's all about becoming a high-impact manager. And listen, this isn't just some fancy title. It's a whole new way of thinking. It means you stop being a taskmaster and you start becoming an architect. Someone who builds an environment where your best people actually want to stay, grow, and do their absolute best work. So, to get there, we're going to break down this playbook into 5 main parts. First up, what makes a manager great? Then, we'll dig into the science of leadership. After that, we've got 2 big plays for you. Play number 1, motivate individuals, and play number 2, shape behavior. And it all leads to the final section, the winning culture. All right, let's kick things off with the big one. What makes a manager great? I mean, what's the real challenge here? What are you actually trying to do as a leader? Because let me tell you, it's about a whole lot more than just hitting your quarterly numbers. Okay, so the job is huge. First, you've got to keep your best people. Losing them, that's a massive blow. You also have to be an inspiring leader, not just a boss who hands out tasks. Then, you've got to make the whole team stronger, make the group better than just a collection of individuals. And yeah, of course, all of this has to drive incredible performance. It's a lot. So how in the world do these high-impact managers pull all this off? I'll give you a hint. It's not magic. And it's not just about being super charismatic. Nope, there's a real science to it. So let's talk about the secret sauce that makes this whole playbook work. See, the real power here comes from where these ideas are born. We're not just talking about good suggestions. These plays are rooted in 2 really cool fields, behavioral science and behavioral economics. Basically, these are the sciences that study how we humans actually think and make decisions. How we're not always rational, and what really truly motivates us to act, especially when we're on the job. And this really marks a huge shift in how we think about management. You know the old school way, right? It was all about authority, the because I said so manager, and it just kind of guessed what motivated people. This new science-backed approach is completely different. It uses what we know about human psychology to nudge and guide teams toward much, much better results. Okay, that brings us to our first real actionable play from the playbook, motivating individuals. And this is key. A team is just a group of individuals. So if you want to motivate the team, you've got to start by understanding each person. And it's a pretty straightforward 3-step process. First, you've got to figure out what their core motivators are. Like, what really gets them going? Is it mastering a new skill? Having the freedom to work their own way? Or maybe it's getting that public pat on the back. Then, step 2. Once you know their why, you connect what they do every day to that bigger purpose. And finally, step 3 is all about giving them the tools and clearing the roadblocks so they can actually win. All right, so once you've got that motivation engine running, it's time for play number 2, shaping behavior. This is all about making excellence the default, turning it into a habit. This is where you, as the leader, step in and really sculpt the behaviors that lead to success. And just like the last one, it's a simple 3-step framework. First, you have to define what good actually looks like. Be super clear about the exact behaviors you want to see more of. Second, when you see it happen, you reinforce it. Right away, a little recognition goes a long way. And third, and honestly this is the most important part, you have to be the example. You have to model that standard of excellence yourself, every single day. Your team is always watching you to see where the bar is set. So, what happens when you do this? When you're constantly running these plays, motivating each person, shaping good habits, well, you get the ultimate prize. You build a winning culture. And that is the kind of environment where all that talent you hired finally gets unlocked. And what does that actually look like day to day? Well, you see teams that collaborate like a well-oiled machine. You see high performance that's consistent, not just a flash in the pan. Your people feel empowered to speak up and contribute their ideas, instead of just waiting for instructions. And maybe the best part? Your top talent chooses to stay. They're not polishing their resumes because they're already thriving with you. And this quote really just nails it. The goal isn't about control, it's about creation. It's about consciously, intentionally building an environment, an ecosystem really, where people can just thrive, contribute their absolute best, and feel great while they're doing it. And that really brings us to the big question for you. We've gone through the science, we've walked through the strategies, but none of it matters without action. So thinking about those two plays, motivating individuals and shaping behavior, what is the one thing, the one small play that you can run with your team starting tomorrow? Because that's where this all begins.